Hola, ¿qué tal amigos? Buenos días, buenas tardes y buenas noches. No importa la hora que sea, siempre es un gran momento para aprender español con Profesor Pablo. I'd like to encourage everyone to please subscribe. If you like the lesson, give it a like and go to profesorpablo.com. That's one S, profesorpablo.com, and check out our over 500-page ebook with everything in Spanish for only $15. It'll be the best buy you make during this year. Okay, estuvo versus estaba is something that takes a while, takes some practice. It's like learning how to tie your shoes or ride a horse. You don't do it immediately. First of all, we want to make sure we review the preterite of estar and the imperfect of estar. The preterite, estuve, estuviste, estuvo, estuvimos, estuvieron. The imperfect, estaba, estabas, estaba, estábamos, estaban. Okay, in Spanish, there are two past tenses. One is the preterite and one is the imperfect. Now you can learn a lot by explanation and you can learn a heck of a lot more usually by usage, right? And examples. Well, on the explanation side, the preterite is the past tense we use for a completed past action, and the imperfect is the past tense we use for an incomplete past action. Okay, let's not dwell here. Let's use some examples. The lesson is estuvo versus estaba because that's how it was requested by one of our learners. But I'm going to take it here, estuve versus estaba, put it in the yo, the I form. All right, let's go with enfermo. What's the difference between estuve enfermo and estaba enfermo? Well, if you want to say you were sick yesterday, like why didn't you go to work? You'd say estuve enfermo, I was sick. It's over. It's a completed past action. But if you want to say, why didn't you call me or why didn't you go to work in the morning? You say, estaba enfermo. If you are referring to the idea of being sick, not as a completed past action, but as a point in time in the past, like a little dot in time, at that moment when you called, when you saw me, I was sick, estaba enfermo. Feliz. Estuve feliz durante toda la fiesta. I was happy for the whole party. When you say how long you were happy or with an adjective, you're going to go preterite. But if you just want to say like, why were you smiling so much? ¿Por qué te estaba sonriendo tanto? You say, estaba muy feliz. I was really, really happy. Could you make a case for estuve feliz without determining the amount of time? It could also mean like, I was happy when I heard the news, like instantaneously. Estuve feliz cuando escuché las noticias. But in terms of going into the past and saying what your frame of mind was at any given point in the past, you say, estaba feliz, I was happy. Let's go here with cansado, cansado. Oh, I was really tired yesterday. Ayer estuve muy cansado. Oh yeah, I was tired when you called me. Estaba cansado cuando me llamaste. Because when you called me, I wasn't done being tired. I didn't start being tired at the moment you called. I wasn't done being tired at the moment you called. I was in the process of being tired. And that action of being tired was incomplete when I say estaba cansado cuando llamaste. Okay, if you want to say, I was tired all last week, estuve cansado toda la semana pasada. You're summarizing. It's over. It's done. It's completed. Preterite. Ocupado. Oh my gosh. I had to do my taxes. I was busy all weekend. You're summarizing. It's over. Estuve ocupado todo el pasado fin de semana. Now remember, you girls would be ocupada. If you want to say like, why didn't you go to the movies with all the friends? ¿Por qué no fuiste al cine con todos tus amigos? Oh, I was really busy with schoolwork. Estaba muy ocupado con trabajo de la escuela. Estaba ocupado. You weren't done being busy when you decided not to go. You were in the process of being busy. This is being busy, right? And at the time they went to the movies, right here, you were in the process of being busy. This action was not completed yet. But if you say, I was busy all day yesterday, that would be estuve ocupado todo el día ayer. Dormido. Wow, I was asleep for 5 hours. Estuve dormido por 5 horas. When you called, cuando llamaste, I was asleep. Estaba dormido. I was asleep. Casado. You hear it all the time, unfortunately or fortunately, right? People break up their marriages for different reasons, and hopefully they're valid and it's a better thing for them to do, a better path to take. You know, it happens, right? So people say, I was married for 20 years. Estuve casado por 20 años, right? Estuve casado por 20 años. And let's say someone now is single, is divorced, but they say, oh, yeah. When I met her, I wasn't married. Cuando la conocí, no estaba casado. Okay? You're talking about a point in time in the past. At that moment we met, I wasn't married. No estaba casado. But I was married for 20 years. Pero sí, es verdad, it's true. Estuve casado por 20 años. Enojado. I got mad when I heard the news. You could say estuve enojado cuando escuché la noticia, right? You could say, I was mad all night long. Estuve enojado toda la noche. I was mad for the whole party. Estuve enojado por toda la fiesta. But if you want to say, oh, I'm sorry, my friend, mi amigo, lo siento mucho. I was upset when you saw me. Cuando tú me viste, estaba enojado. I wasn't done being upset at the moment you saw me. I was upset after that moment and before that moment. So we're not talking about a completed past action. Incomplete past action. Estaba enojado. How about triste? I got sad when I heard the news. Estuve triste cuando escuché la noticia. She was sad all month. Estuvo triste por mucho tiempo, let's say. She was sad for a long time. Estuvo triste por mucho tiempo. You're defining, you're putting parameters on the amount of time that she was sad. Completed past action, you got to go preterite. Triste. Oh gosh, I was sad when I was at the party. Estaba muy triste cuando estaba en la fiesta. You were still sad before you got to the party and after the party. Estaba muy triste cuando estaba en la fiesta. Estaba muy triste. Okay, how about lloviendo? Beautiful. Let's go. You want to go? Let's go now. Estuvo and estaba. When I got to work, when I got up, when I looked out the window, it was raining. Is it estuvo or estaba? A point in time in the past, you're going to go imperfect. Estaba lloviendo when I got to work, cuando llegué al trabajo, when I looked out the window, cuando me asomé a la ventana, when I went out to play, cuando salí a jugar, estaba lloviendo, it was raining. How about if you want to say, it was raining for 40 days and 40 nights, like the Bible says. Estuvo lloviendo 40 días y 40 noches. It was raining all day yesterday. Ayer todo el día estuvo lloviendo. You're putting parameters on it. You're locking it up as one completed past action, like a block. Done. Nevando. It was snowing when I got up. Estaba nevando cuando me levanté, cuando me desperté. Estaba nevando. It wasn't done snowing. It was snowing before I got up and after I got up. It was in the process of snowing. That action was not completed, the action of snowing. Imperfect. Estaba nevando cuando me desperté. If I want to say, it was snowing all last week, estuvo nevando toda la semana pasada. It was snowing for an hour. Estuvo nevando por una hora. Viviendo, living. Oh, yeah, that's right. I saw you at the game. Te vi en el partido. Back then, entonces, I was living at the beach. Estaba viviendo en la playa. Estaba viviendo cerca del mar. Estaba viviendo. But if you want to say, I was living at the beach for 5 years. Estuve viviendo en la playa por 5 años. Trabajando. I was working at McDonald's when I met her. Estaba trabajando en McDonald's cuando la conocí. I was working at McDonald's for 2 months. Estuve trabajando en McDonald's solo por 2 meses, just for 2 months. Durmiendo. I was sleeping when you called. Cuando tú llamaste, estaba durmiendo. Yes, you could say dormido. I was asleep. I was sleeping. Estaba dormido. I was asleep. Estaba durmiendo. Oh, durmio. How art thou? Durmiendo. Get it? Estaba durmiendo. I was sleeping. Rip Van Winkle was sleeping for 40 years. I don't know how long it was. Rip Van Winkle estuvo durmiendo por 40 años. Because we say for how long? It's over. Preterite. Desempleado. That's a sad thing, to be unemployed, right? If you want to say she was unemployed for a year, estuvo desempleada por un año. When I was living with my parents, I was unemployed. Cuando estaba viviendo con mis padres, estaba desempleado. Outside. I was outside all night long. Estuve afuera toda la noche. I was outside when you called. Estaba afuera cuando llamaste. Back when I was a kid, we had rotary dial phones, right? There were no cell phones, of course. And you say, estaba afuera cuando llamaste. That was very, very common. Now you have watches that work as a phone. We call it, this is my Dick Tracy phone, right? A talking phone watch. And we have our cell phones with us, always with us. So to be outside, you don't have to miss calls anymore because the phone is with you always, 24/7. But back in the day when I was a kid, estaba afuera cuando me llamaste. I was outside when you called. De compras, out shopping. Mom was out shopping, just mamá estaba de compras. The idea is like, where was mom when I got home? Where was mom when I called? Estaba de compras. She was out shopping. She wasn't finished shopping. Incomplete. She was out shopping. Estaba de compras. But if you want to say mom was out shopping all day, bam, you close it in. Estuvo de compras todo el día. En el aeropuerto. When you called, cuando llamaste, I was in the airport. Estaba en el aeropuerto. Goodness gracious, they lost my suitcases. Se perdieron mis maletas. I was in the airport, or she was in the airport for 3 hours. Estuvo en el aeropuerto por 3 horas, looking for her suitcases, her luggage, buscando su equipaje en una fiesta. Yeah, I'm sorry. When you called, cuando llamaste, I was at party. Estaba en una fiesta. Okay? I was at the party for an hour. Estuve en la fiesta por una hora. Aquí, allí. Where were you? ¿Dónde estabas is the question. Estaba. If someone asks you the question, ¿Dónde estabas? They're referring to at any given moment, like when they got home or when they called you or when they went to see you, right? ¿Dónde estabas? Okay? Where were you? Then you'd respond with estaba. Estaba aquí, I was here. I was over there. Estaba por allí. Estaba aquí, I was here. Could you say, estuvo aquí, estuvo allí? I could say, yeah, a friend came by, is waiting for you. She was here for 2 hours. Estuvo aquí por 2 horas. 2 horas, completed past action. En el extranjero means abroad, out of country. Dad was out of country for 3 months. Papá estuvo en el extranjero por 3 meses. Okay? When the earthquake hit, God forbid, cuando pasó el temblor, Dad was out of country. Papá estaba en el extranjero. En la oficina? Yeah, I was in the office. Sí, estaba en la oficina. Dad was in the office all day long. Papá estuvo en la oficina todo el día. Again, preterite, imperfect, it's like wearing in a pair of shoes. It takes a little bit of practice, okay? So preterite, imperfect, we never get too far away from our verb tenses, right? Again, there are 10 things you can do to a verb, and we're looking at the 2 past tenses right here, preterite versus imperfect. I know you know how to conjugate them. And again, when you hear someone or read or see estuvo or estaba, think just for a moment for your learning process, your language learning module, right? Think about it. Why did they use estuvo and why did they use estaba? Are they referring to something that's completed and over and done? It happened? That would be estuvo. If they're referring to something that wasn't completed yet, it was still unfolding and still unraveling and still happening, like you say, I had a headache. Tenía un dolor de cabeza. Like when we saw each other, right? When we went out to dinner, tenía un dolor de cabeza. I had the headache before we went out to dinner. I had it after. I was in the process of having it. It was incomplete. Tenía un dolor de cabeza. It's the same thing as estaba versus estuvo. Okay, es todo por ahora. Hasta la próxima lección. This is Profesor Pablo signing off. Cambio fuera.